Welcome to A2X Capital Management. We are an advisory firm based in South Salem, New York, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I get dividend information to build the Blackwoods Dividend Income Fund. So what the Blackwoods Dividend Income Fund is it's a fund that tries to capture dividends and also have low exposure to the market. So what we need is the dividend history from the past of every stock in our portfolio. And what we're trying to figure out is the probability that a stock will not pay a dividend or reduce the dividend yield. So in a dividend strategy, you really have three risks. The first risk is the risk that your dividend will decrease. The second risk is that your dividend will stop being paid. And the third risk is that the equity value of the stock will decrease. So there's really three kinds of funds. So let me just show you an example of these funds in a website called FinViz. I'm actually a premium member of FinViz. It's a very nice website. So I'll show you an example of a sinking fund. This is a REIT called Armor Residential. It pays out a large dividend percent. As you can see, it pays out 8.4% dividend. That's a very nice dividend, as long as the equity value of your stock does not change a lot. But in this case, if we look at a monthly scale, we can see that this fund has kind of been a sinking fund. So even though it's paying out 8.4% every year, the equity value is decreasing. Long-term debt to equity, the debt to equity is a little bit high, and the reason for that is because it's a real estate company. It's buying properties, and then the income is being paid, and it's paying back a loan. So it's kind of a private equity type strategy where you borrow a bunch of money, you buy a bunch of assets, and those assets pay back the loan that you took out, and hopefully there's a little bit of extra profit that you can distribute to your shareholders. So let me see if I can find another stock that's an example of a sinking fund. A good way you can do that is you just screen and you say dividend of over 10%, and sort by market cap, and we can see there's only about 200 companies that have a dividend of over 10%. And we can go to performance, and we can see performance year to date. A lot of these are decreasing. Let's see. There's really two times that a company will pay a big dividend like this. And the reason a company would pay a big dividend is to attract new shareholders if the company is in distress. A lot of time a company will take out a loan in order to distribute a dividend to shareholders. And that's a sign of weakness in the company. Another reason it would pay out a steady dividend is if the company is doing well and it doesn't think that it can make any more money through reinvestment. So if you have a company that's making all this money and you don't have any ideas of what you can invest it in, you might as well return it to shareholders. And one thing that I'm confused about is these companies like Apple. They don't really pay out a good dividend. They pay out 1.6%, but I think that could be a whole lot more because the cash per share is, they have $14 of cash. They have quite a bit of cash on hand, so they really could pay out bigger dividends, but they don't. Let's see. Yeah, I was looking for one that's a sinking fund. Yeah, that's what you have to be careful about with these high dividend payers, is that they will just decrease in value. The equity value will decrease. The other risk is really is that they'll stop paying the dividend, and the other risk is that your dividend will decrease. you can actually buy the preferred shares if you're afraid that the dividend will decrease, but the preferred shares, a lot of time they're less liquid, and I prefer to just invest directly in the common stock. But we can take a look and see. Yeah, so as you can see, this company, FS Investments, is paying out a 10.3% dividend, and it looks like it's decreasing over time. But we want to see how reliable this dividend is, because we just know the yield here, and we want to figure out how many times has it paid this dividend, and does this dividend, is this a reliable dividend, or is this just a one-time 10.7% dividend and it's never paid a dividend before, or what are they doing here? So the name of the company is FSIC, that's the ticker. So we can go to a website called dividend.com, and that's actually the website we're going to be using to get our data from, completely for free. So we go to FSIC and we can see we might be able to see it. Dividend payout history. And this is what we want here. Oh, we can't download it, but we get this nice list here. So what we can do is you can actually go to inspect element of the page, go to the network tab, like I've done many times, hit the refresh button, and as you can see, there's this JSON file here. And if you go into the JSON, you can see we have these things here: regular payouts, data, and it looks like the x-axis is the timestamp and the y-axis is the dividend. So this is what we want here. Yeah, so this is pretty nice. The only thing is, in order to get to this page, it's in this weird format: dividend.com, dividend stocks, financial, closed end, FSIC, FS Investment Corporation, comma. So we can't just do /FSIC up here. Yeah, it looks like it's not working. So what we actually have here is we have a function called get full name dividend, and let me just clear the Matlab command window here. And what we can do is pass in the symbol, and then we create this JSON here. Is when you actually type in the search box, it queries another REST API. So if I go to network and then I type in FSIC, as you can see, it's making these requests every time you type something. And what it does is it gives you back this. Yeah, so what I can do is just grab this and put it up here and hit query, and it's actually able to find this page based on that query there. So let me just show you what I get. So if I say symbol equals FSIC, and then I can do URL to search to format the string, and now we see that this is the query string, and then we can actually query it and see what we get. And we get back this HTML here. And what we want to do is actually parse this this HTML, and we want to get the path to that web page. So it looks like here's the path. So what we do is we grab this, and then we use a regular expression, which is what we have here, and we strip out what we want. So if I actually run this, we see URLs is equal to a cell array. So if we inspect that, we get that path here, and this is what we want. So that's what this function does, get full name dividend. And if we go back to get dividend history, what we do is we create a new string. So if we say sim equals ants, and then we want to get the path. Okay. Yeah, so we're calling that function here, and then we're actually calling this. So let me just say sim equals fsic, and then string to stock is calling that function we just talked about, and we get this, and then path to hist, we're actually going to get the dividend history. So this is the actual JSON that we're querying. Let me throw this into the browser and we can see what we get. Yeah, so this is what we get back. And it looks like this is all the dividend data that we want for FSIC. Cool, so now what we have to do is we have to format this correctly. So now we have the dividend as a text, and we have to convert this to a Matlab format, so we're going to use JSON decode. So I'll say JS div equals JSON decode div text. So now what we have to do is we have to figure out where exactly is the dividend. So JS div dot options. I don't think that's it. So it's probably x-axis only. Nope. Maybe series. Okay, so this is regular payouts. This is the path to what we want. So, okay, so let's say JS div equals JSON decode div text, and then this is the actual struct that we want. So I'll say reg payouts equals that. And then we actually want to get that data. Data.x. Okay, so now these are the x-axes, and these are the y-axes. So the top column is actually times, and the bottom column is the dividends. So we're paying out a 7-cent dividend at each of these times, and I actually want to convert these into real timestamps. So let me go to parts and see what they are. Yeah, so we actually want to know the pay date for each of these 25. Okay, so for each of these structs, so we want to get pay date for each of these dividends, and then we want to get the amount that was paid. So what we can do is loop through each of these and add them to a list. So I'll say divs equals reg payouts dot y, and if we do reg payouts dot y, this should be the data dot y. This should be the divs, and we want these as a list. Okay, so now we have the dividends, and now we need to get the times that they were paid out. So if I go to reg payouts dot data dot parts, we get these 25 structs. So I'll put these into an array. So I'll say parts equals that. And then I'll say for p in 1 to length of reg payouts dot data dot part or parts. Forget how to do a for loop in Matlab. Yeah, I guess this is right. So for equals 1 to length of parts. What we want to get of each of these structs is the pay date. So we'll say pay dates equals empty array, and then pay dates equals pay dates parts of p dot pay date. Hopefully this works. Okay, looks like it worked. So we get we don't want to print it out every time. So we get that. And then okay, so pay dates is a 25 by 10 character array, and divs, we actually want divs to be formatted differently. It's a vertical column. So now we have the pay dates. So it looks like the dividend has been, if we plot the dividends, the dividends have really been increasing. But that doesn't say anything regarding the price of the stock. So what we'd actually have to do is get the price of the stock and then compare these dividends as a percent, because this is the notional value of the dividend. This isn't the actual percentage value. So if we look at the price of the current stock, what was the symbol? FSIC. So if we look at the dividend, it's a $8.30 stock and it's paying out 22 cents. So 0.22 over 8.30. So it's paying out, looks like 2% every month. These are monthly dividends, right? It's parts. Yeah, these are monthly dividends. So looks like we're paying out, should be more than 10. The dividend yield should be more than 10.3% if we're paying out 22 cents. Oh, these were slightly less. So for 2016, it looks like these are quarterly, these aren't monthly. So it paid out 4 dividends in 2016, and they are so it paid out 20, 40, 60, 80, about 90 cents over, let's see what the price was. Average price of around $9.50. So yeah, I guess that is correct. It's around paying around 9% dividend every year. But this is just more to show you how to get these information. So let me just print out what we want from this function. We want the divs, and we also want the dates. So we'll say dates equals pay dates, and we can get rid of this. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so let's see what happens when we call this full function. If we get dividend history for, say, Johnson & Johnson, we end up getting back just the first. We get back just divs. We don't get dates. Let me try divs. So dates is equal to this 100. So we're actually getting dates all the way back to 1993 for this company. And let's see what happens when we plot the divs. Wow, this is a pretty good dividend pair. Looks like Johnson & Johnson is pretty steady. I mean, there was only one issue here where it wasn't going up. That's the only time that their dividend has decreased. So this software here, or this, let's see if we can get the prices of Johnson & Johnson to do some more analysis. I don't know if my server is up and running, but we can get, we don't want tick range, we want get daily data. I think this is it. Let's see what we can get. We don't want minute data. We want daily data going back to 1993. So get data column. Nope. No, we don't want tick data. We want I have too many files here. This is the first time I've been back in this software for a while. I think get daily data is the name of the function we want to try. I think what we do is we just name symbols we'll say symbols equals J and J, and then we'll try get daily data. Okay, so we need the start date and the end date. Yeah, I guess my server is running because it's able to get this data. Oh no, this isn't tick data, this is... Oh, let me plot a new figure.